Hey students, in our last lecture of marketing management, we had talked about digital marketing. We had talked about the applications of digital marketing and its definition. In this session, we'll talk something more about digital marketing. First, we'll discuss advantages of digital or online marketing. First advantage is interactivity. We have discussed earlier as well that online marketing is interactive. There is two-way communication and the communication process is very fast. So the marketer can communicate with the consumers or customers online. Customers' queries can be resolved immediately. Chatbots are used. Even some individuals are also there to chat with customers. So interactivity is one of the most important aspect or advantage of online marketing. Second is intelligence. This is also a very important thing for online marketing. Just for an example, if I am interested in buying a pair of shoes, I go to the website of Amazon and I just search for shoes and come back, close Amazon. Then I open my Facebook account. I would keep on seeing ads from Amazon in my Facebook account that would advertise shoes. So, online marketing is something that in which intelligence, or you may say artificial intelligence, is used so that a customer can be identified, a customer's needs can be identified, and accordingly a relevant ad is shown to a customer. If I am interested in buying a pair of shoes, I'll see the ads of shoes. If someone else is interested in buying a shirt, that person would see the ads of shirt. If I watch more about movies on YouTube, YouTube would suggest more about movies to me. If someone else is interested in physical exercises on you and the person looks videos for physical exercises on YouTube, YouTube would suggest or recommend videos related to physical exercises to that person. So online marketing is intelligent. It understands consumer, it identifies consumer, it remembers consumer, and then accordingly the communication is sent to those consumers. So every individual consumer or individual computer or system or mobile sees different ads. So it is not one size fits all. It's not like we are watching TV, everyone is seeing the same ad. In this, every different individual is seeing a different ad depending on its needs. So it is more individualization and customization. So products are customized or ads are customized or services are customized according to individual customers' need. If I am in Kanpur, I'll see ads which are more related to Kanpur. If I am in London, I would see ads that are relevant to individuals living in London. So these things are individualized, and further independence of location. Though ads might be shown depending on my location, but I may buy anything from all over the world sitting here in Kanpur. So, uh, if online marketing is not there, I might not be able to buy some products which are available all over the world. I would be able to buy the products only which are available in the physical stores nearby me or in Kanpur, maybe in Lucknow up to if I go to. But with online marketing, I can buy a product from anywhere in the world and it could be shipped to me. So online marketing is not location constraint. It is something that is independent of location. It is something that we can sell, we can communicate with individuals or customers all over the world. As we discuss online marketing, we must be aware about some terms commonly used in online marketing. URL word is very common. It is not only related to online marketing, it is related to internet. So URL is uniform or universal resource locator. ISP is internet service provider. GLTD is global top level domain. It is like extension. So for example, every website has a name and then an extension, means uh, yahoo.com. So .com is an extension. Amazon.com. So .com is extension, GLTD. So amazon.co.in. So .co.in is GLTD. So we see amazon.com as well as amazon.co.in. If sitting in India, we just type Amazon on Google, Google would show amazon.co.in on the list first rather than amazon.com. Why? Because Google understands that this person is searching for Amazon sitting in India, so the person must be interested in Amazon's that website, which is basically made for India, not the global website. So it first shows amazon.co.in, and definitely amazon.co.in has the products that are relevant to me sitting in India, that are available in India, that are easily shipped in India rather than amazon.com. If even if I go deliberately to amazon.com, I would see the products which are available on Amazon's global website. So shipping and other conditions for those products will also be different. It would not be easy to order those products for me from amazon.com, but I say not easy, it is not impossible. Even if I want to buy a product from US, I can buy from amazon.com, and it would require some documentation, but definitely I can get it. So GLTD is very important. Seeing GLTD, we can understand the validity or authenticity of a website. So .com is an international GLTD. .co.uk says that it is a UK based company. Similarly, .co.in or .in is India based company or company that targets Indians. .ac.in is India based academic firm. So if it is an academic firm, then it and is in India based, then it would use .ac.in. So these GLTDs are important. There are more examples. AC.uk could be there, and there are even more examples for different countries. So these GLTD are important, and seeing these GLTDs, we can decide that whether a website is targeting my country or that belongs to some other country, and many other things. Then something about dynamic and static websites. A dynamic website or a web page is supposed to be a dynamic, which is created in real time, often with reference to a database query. So a dynamic web page keeps on changing. That keeps on changing not when the administrator changes it, but even when there is a change in the database. I'll take just a small example. The website of an institute is a static website. It would change if only the administrator of that website would change anything in that website. It would change maybe within 2-3 days, within 2-3 months, maybe twice a day, or so on. So that website is a static website. It would change if only the administrator makes any changes in that website. While a dynamic website is actually connected or associated with a database. So if there is any change in that database, that dynamic website would show those changes. So changes would appear in website if there would be any change in database. For example, IRCTC website, Amazon website. If there are 5 products available on Amazon, I purchase all those 5. Immediately Amazon's website would show out of stock. So this is a dynamic website. As soon as I purchase all the 5 products from that Amazon, in Amazon's database it is showing that this product is now 0, and that would reflect in dynamic website or web page of Amazon that it is now out of stock. So a dynamic website keeps on changing and changes as soon as there is a change in database, while static website does not change and it is actually not connected with the database. It only changes when an administrator makes any change in that website. So dynamic web page is created in real time, often with reference to a database query in response to a user's request. So if a user wants to know that whether a product is available on Amazon, it would show the quantity, it would show whether it is available or not depending on user's query or request. If I on a IRCTC website I want to show whether some seats are available in a train, this is a query or request. So depending on that request, IRCTC website would show that how many seats are available in a particular train. The content of a dynamic website changes with change in database. I have discussed any registered user's action may change database. So I am a registered user on IRCTC or Amazon. If I buy products or ticket from IRCTC or Amazon, there will be a change in database, and that change in database would reflect in web page. A static website content changes only when changed by the admin. It is generally not linked to any database. So it is clear that a dynamic website is linked to a database, and it would show the changes that have been made to database. Who can make changes to database? Any registered user or admin. However, a static website does not change. It is not linked to a database. It is only changed. Its content is changed by a admin. That's all for this lecture. Thank you.